So it's getting near Armistice Day now, and I just wanted to make a video honouring and thanking those men and women that laid down their lives for our future and for the quality of life that we have today, and from saving us from disaster. Now, I remember, I was very lucky, because I think that the generation that I grew up, that I was nurtured by, were those that had gone through the hardest of times, those that had fought in the war and lived through the war and suffered because of it. And that generation had a certain strength, their dignity, their moral compass was absolutely spot on. And I think that because of the pain and agony and suffering that they endured, it made them the people that they were. And they were very, very honourable people. Certainly the ones that I was lucky enough to grow up with. Now, I remember as a little boy that the ex-servicemen that fought during the Second World War were probably of the age that I am now. They were probably in their sort of late 40s, early 50s. It's quite a sobering thought to think that by this point they'd seen so much hardship and so much waste of young life, and they didn't flinch. They gave their everything to make sure that our future was better than theirs, and better than their forebears as well. Now, I was lucky not just to grow up amongst these people and be guided by them and be moulded by them, but when I went into the workplace, when I left school and went into the workplace, these are the men that showed me the ropes. These were the men that taught me everything that I needed to know. And I'm not just talking about the job itself or the acts of the work that I was doing itself. I'm talking about how you should approach life. And because of the things that they instilled in me, it meant that I was very conscientious of the work that I carried out, and I wanted to carry it out to the best of my ability. And, for my generation, because we were brought up by that old generation, getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and I know it sounds like an old tale, but it's very true, and walking maybe 4 miles to work and then finishing sort of 7 or 8 in the evening and then walking back was nothing. It was nothing compared to what they went through. But they were the people that instilled that work ethic in me. And I'm ever so thankful to them. And they, I was with them every day, all day, in various jobs that I worked at. And the resilience that went through that generation just amazes me and still amazes me. And because that generation are now dying off, or we're seeing the last of them, and these are men that I called friends, irrespective of the age gap, they were my friends and they were my good friends. And I used to go out with them and drink with them and socialise with them and spend lots of time with them. And they always treated me like that, I don't know, snotty-nosed kid. But it was done with love. It was done with purity. And as I say, they moulded me into the man that I've become. And I hope that I'm the better. Well, I know that I hope that I'm the better for it. I can't say if I am or not, but I certainly hope I am. And I just want to honour them. Not just the men, but the women as well. The women that, I grew up with ladies that came from the East End of London that were there during the Blitz, that, they were either children or they were of teenage years, slightly older as well, in their early 20s. And they'd been through it. They'd lost boyfriends, partners, husbands. But, they got this resilience, and it's the same with that generation as far as the men were concerned. They'd been through hell and they'd come out the other side. But instead of it breaking them or tainting them, it strengthened them. And I'm really, really thankful to that generation. And I don't think that I could lace up the boots of these men and women. I'm not fit enough to do that. And I'm the first to admit that, you know. And I just wanted to honour them just by telling you about that, really. I remember there was one guy that I worked with who was dropped at Arnhem. And I think his brother was dropped. No, his brother was dropped there. And his brother was seriously injured. And he took a hit himself. And he was a paratrooper. Tough, not a very big man, tough little guy. Fred, his name is, probably was now, I don't know. But, you know, he was very funny, dark humour, great personality, just a lovely, lovely man. And I learned a lot from him. You know, I grew up looking up to these men, and they were the model of what I wanted to, they were the pinnacle of that I wanted to attain. I wanted to mould myself after these men, because to me they were heroes. Every last one of them was a hero. You know, whether they'd served or not, that generation, they all gave their everything. And another guy I used to work with called Ted when I was much younger. And he was in the RAF, and he was actually part of a bomber crew. I think he was 18. Yeah, he was 18 when he was part of a bomber crew in the RAF. And they told me through all of the pain and anguish and suffering that they went through, they told me some funny, funny stories. Very dark stories. Well, it was dark for them. You know, and I, as I say, I grew up with that generation. That generation moulded me and made me realise that this world isn't about me. It isn't about just me. It's about the well-being and caring for others. And I don't know what to say. Just thank you. God bless you. And I am honoured to have known you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't know where the next generation are going to get their models from, but never mind. Cheers, guys.